Welcome back to Watchbox Studios. Today I have a very special guest and a very special collector conversation. This has been 2 years in the making. I'm very, very happy we could do it. And I want to go on record and saying this is probably the best collector conversation setup we have, probably the most expensive as well. And we're in Opera Gallery in Dubai in the DIFC, and I have Sylvain, who is the director of the Opera Gallery. How are you doing today, my friend?
Good, thanks for having me.
Thanks for doing it. We've been trying to do this since Dubai Watch Week 2019.
Yep, correct.
So I'm very glad that in 2021 we can make it happen. A couple of days before the show gets started, I'm very happy we could do it in, I think it's called the Black Room.
Yeah, correct. It's called the Black Room. It's something that's very consistent within the network of galleries. So every gallery that we have is going to have that Black Room where we showcase the pieces that are not necessarily the most expensive, but that have the most historical value when it comes to art.
Yeah, it's awesome being here because there's just art all around us. Even the tables that we're on, these are amazing pieces. And again, probably the best place we ever had to shoot. So the reason why I'm very excited to do this with you is you're probably one of the coolest guys I know, to be honest with you.
It's a lot to take in.
When I follow you on Instagram and meet you, first of all, you're a very nice person and open, but you love watches, you love art, you love travel, and you're a sneakerhead as well. And I just love the combination of everything you love, and everything is so well curated. And when there's like a new Jordan or something special drop, I go to your page first to see if you somehow, got hands on it. So tell the people a little bit, about your history and what brought you to Dubai in the first place.
So what brought me, originally I'm Swiss. I'm born and raised in Geneva, educated in Boston. I went there twice for my undergrad and my MBA. In a previous life, I was working in banking.
Wow.
And, yeah. Far cry from doing now. Yeah. And then I came to Dubai to run the operation for Opera Gallery. So landed in Dubai about 8 years ago without had never been to Dubai. So basically, my wife and I, we packed everything we had in Switzerland, moved from Geneva to Dubai. And we're like, okay, this is home now. We have to make it work. And it's been 8 years now, and we're super happy. Can't see ourselves living anywhere else for the time being.
That's amazing. So you've probably seen so much change just in these 8 years of being in Dubai as well, right?
Dubai, I mean, you've been here, like 2-3 years now?
Yeah, exactly.
And you can tell, Dubai is an ever-evolving city.
Yes.
There's new things opening all the time. It's a very resilient city. I mean, especially we've seen what happened, unfortunately, the last 2 years. But the way Dubai managed the pandemic was absolutely was super well managed.
Yes.
And yeah, it's a very, very vibrant city. It's interesting. It's very cosmopolitan.
Yeah.
It's just a whole lot of fun living here.
It definitely comes alive, and there's always something new to do. And like following your Instagram, you always see you're at a cool place, and there's always something interesting that's new to open up. And being in the DFC as well is such an interesting place because there's a gallery and so many unique restaurants and unique experiences and auction houses here as well. So awesome place to be. So I guess the question is, what got you started in watches? What was the first watch that really ignited the fire that burns today?
So the first watch that ignited the fire is this one. It's a Scuba 200. And going back to the history of that particular watch, so it's 1992 or 1993, I believe, Scuba releases these 60 Swiss franc watches or 80 Swiss franc watches. And they're just sold out everywhere. Yeah. People are queuing in Geneva. Every Wednesday, people are going to the Swatch stand in the department store. They have 8 watches available, and people are just scooping whatever they can. It's an amazing watch. It has a bezel, and it's water resistant. They all came in funky colors. Yeah. And there was a real shortage of these. And back then, my father was traveling a lot. And the only place you could actually buy these was on planes. So every week, my dad would come back with like 2-3 watches. I would sell them, with like a very small premium. Nice. I would reimburse my dad, like keep pocket the difference. And then I traded up. And it's funny because back then there was no internet, like it's 1992, 1993.
The internet was barely there, right?
Exactly. And yet, for some odd reason, people knew that the Happy Fish was the rarest one. And I remember with my brother, with my younger brother and my best friend going to the flea market and using the one we had in the collection and trading up until we could get this one. I remember coming home, I must have traded like 8 or 10 of these Scuba to get this one. I came home with this one. I found it so beautiful that I've never worn it.
Yeah.
So that, that's a 28-year-old watch that hasn't been worn. I still think it looks beautiful, but none of the other watches would be there if it weren't for that Swatch Scuba.
That's amazing. I think Swatch is such an important brand and an important watch just for what it's done for watches in the beginning during the quartz crisis and everything.
Of course.
So it's always awesome to see that the Swatch watch. So you're somebody who's from Switzerland, who lived in Geneva. It really that's where the passion starts, right? And it's such an important watch. And this is actually, the colors on this are really awesome, and it's nice, funky with the pinks and oranges and the aqua blue there as well. So I can see it being something just funky, you just want to get your hands on.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever open it, or it'll always stay sealed?
No, I mean, it's not, it's not sealed. Like
Okay.
I play with it, I open it, I take a look at it, but I just can't bring myself to wearing it. I don't know. It's just, this one means a lot to me. Maybe something that I will, like pass down to the next generation. But I don't know. That's the one that definitely started everything for me.
Oh, that's awesome. So what was next up in your journey?
So next up in the journey, there was no watch buying because I had to focus on my studies and everything. And then I graduate from Northeastern, and my parents knew that I wanted a watch. And they gave me something they're totally off, they're totally off the mark.
Yeah.
They gift me something that I really don't like. It's just not me. It wasn't a mechanical watch. I think my father really liked it. And at the end of the day, I was like, if anyone should get something, it should be you. Actually,
yes.
You paid for my studies, so keep the watch. And I believe my dad's still wearing it. It was
awesome.
it was a Tissot T-Touch.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's a good watch.
It's a good watch, but it's, I wanted something mechanical.
Yes.
So I said, you know what, the first watch, I want to buy it myself. And I had worked in Boston right after university. And I remember that being an international student, you're non-taxable and everything. And I knew exactly how much I was going to get for my tax return.
Nice.
So I started shopping around for watches, and I remember seeing an ad in the back of a magazine for Baume Mercier, and I think it was the Capeland. And if memory serves me right, I think Harrison Ford was promoting the brand back in the days.
Right.
So I did a bit of research. Back then, I really didn't know that much about watch, but I came across this one, and I was like, it's a diver, it looks cool, it has a bezel, it's COSC, which I had no idea what it was back then, but I felt that it must mean something, and it must be important. So I remember, shopping around and going to the watch dealer in Boston, and I just said, listen, that's all I got for my tax return.
What can you do?
Here's the cash, can I get the watch? And I was a bad negotiator because the guy instantly said yes.
Yeah,
so I think I
exactly.
could have gone lower. But that's my first watch. I still wear it a lot. Initially, it comes on a bracelet.
Yes.
I swapped it for something a bit more
I like it on a
bit more
NATO.
fun.
This is nice.
Yeah, I think it looks good. Yeah, the NATO looks good. And the cool thing with the NATO is you can, switch them up every time. It runs perfectly. It's only been serviced once, I think. And I still, wear it with a lot of pride. Like it's a thick watch, but I don't know, like the design, the dial, everything, talks to me, and I still love that watch.
Yeah.
This one will.
I think design-wise, it's probably one of the sleeker divers ever made, right?
Yeah.
And that's why it's such a timeless piece. Even if it is a diver, it's still a watch you could wear every day. You could wear it in a business environment. And actually, I've never seen one on a NATO before, and that actually is really nice. So I like that. You give back your first watch to your dad, because maybe not your taste, but still he wears it today. And then we got a nice Capeland Chrono. So that's really that's a good. I like the way the trajectory. So what was after that?
So after that, I go back to Geneva. I work. I'm working in a bank, and then you're a bit older. You start paying a bit more attention. So the guy who's working next to me is rocking a Patek.
Yeah.
All the young guys, fresh out of university. Everyone's is buying Panerai. Back then, Panerai was huge. So I'm wearing my Baume Mercier, and I'm like, maybe I need to buy something that looks a bit more professional. I don't know if you remember the Thierry Nataf era of Zenith. So Thierry Nataf becomes the head of Zenith. They go crazy with marketing. They go crazy with new products. And that watch was plastered all over the Geneva airport. And back then I was flying a lot, and I remember every time I would leave the airport, they had a picture of that watch like blown. Like it was a huge thing with a very, like good-looking dude wearing a suit, and I was like, this is, I don't know, I kind of want to be like that guy. I like the open escapement, so I started making a bit of research about Zenith. It comes with a 4021 movement, which is iconic. And I don't know, I just instantly fell in love with the watch, and I thought, you know what? Instead of buying a Panerai or another watch that I'm going to see on every wrist at the bank, I'm gonna get the Zenith, and that for the very long time. That's the watch that I wore day in and day out. And the cool thing, I mean, I didn't do it on purpose, but that watch I bought on my mother's birthday. So I'll remember exactly which day I got that watch. Still wear it a lot. It's unpolished. I just had the strap changed about a month ago. But I mean, what's not to love about that piece? You look at it and it smiles at you.
Exactly.
I just love the power reserve. It's still super elegant. I like the stepped bezel. It's just a very, very cool timepiece.
It's gorgeous, and that era of Zenith, you find so many unique pieces, and the expression that they were using was very nice. The case design, using the open escapement. Zenith is one of those brands that has a lot of ups and downs, but one thing I love, they're never afraid to experiment. They're never afraid to go out there and try to figure out what the consumer wants and give them an appealing timepiece that is unlike anything else that's out there, and they still do that today. And that is a great example of that. And I just love that big power reserve. That smile is amazing. And the open escapement done the right way. Yep. And so many other brands try to do open escapements and the skeletonization doesn't look the right, but Zenith finds the right way to make it nice, evident, but still very beautiful, and still keep a nice classic watch as well. So before, let's take a pause from going through the collection. Since you're also an art collector as well, this has been a very interesting past 2 to 3 years when it comes to watch collecting. Would you say the same has been reflected in the art world as well? What have you seen happen in the past couple of years?
Absolutely. If you look over the past 2 years, auction results, everything is beating the high estimates. There is like amazing appetite for art, whether it is for established artists, blue chip artists, or like up and coming. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening, both in the gallery, both at auction. You can tell people are really bullish, and they are buying art.
It seems like a different world. This is definitely a wide appreciation. I feel like people were stuck at home for so long, and like if they liked the watches a little bit or art a little bit, they just dove in even deeper. And now we're so far from '92, and there's no internet. There's almost too much internet, right, and too much information where you can spend a whole day just learning about watches or arts. I can definitely see how your eyes are open, and if you have the capital to spend, or even smaller brands do very, very well now. So I can imagine in the art world everything's changing day by day.
Yeah, and it's also a lot easier nowadays to get educated about art. Like if you rewind to 30 years ago, the only way you would know what was happening in the art world is you had to physically go to galleries. And for some odd reason, people, regardless of where they're from, and stepping into an art gallery makes people uncomfortable, even to this day. And we try here to, like be very welcoming. And every time somebody comes to the gallery, we stand up and we talk to them. We want the experience to be fun, and people can come to the gallery and just have a look and have a good time and learn a couple of things about the things we have on display. But the internet has definitely helped like make people feel a bit more knowledgeable. And that like coming to the gallery thing is becoming a bit more easier for them to do. Yeah, so we get a lot more walking, and people tell us, listen, I know nothing about art, and I'm like, all right, that's great. Like I'll give you a tour of the gallery, and at least you'll walk out of there knowing
a little bit more.
A bit more, yeah.
That's so interesting, because I think me myself, I've fell into that way, because even this gallery, you look outside, it's so beautiful. You almost are afraid to walk in because everything's so amazing. You don't know exactly what's what, but it is such an inviting environment to meet somebody like yourself and your staff, and you could just walk around and have a good time and learn about the amazing pieces. And I think it's the same thing with high-end watches as well. In the beginning, to walk into a Patek boutique or F. Journe boutique, you're kind of scared a little bit, right? Because if you don't know, you're afraid somebody's like going to talk down to you. But most times people just we're watch nerds at the end of the day, right? We just like to tell stories and learn about watches. So it's always a good time, a good decision to just open the door, ask a few questions, and most times you won't get bitten, right? Nobody's gonna bite you.
Yeah, correct. And at the end of the day, it's all about the experience. When someone walks into the gallery, it's the same as if you walk into a watchmaker. We want people to feel comfortable. We want to have a cool conversation, whatever comes out of it. And it's not that important. It's more about the face-to-face experience that you have with people who are passionate about whatever you have on display or art in general. And going back to what you were saying, it's nice because the watches in my business, it actually helps a lot because it's an amazing conversation starter. Yes. It's an amazing icebreaker. I've seen people walk into the gallery feeling a bit uneasy. And either I'm going to look at their wrist or they're going to look at mine. And then the conversation starts with, oh, you have a very nice timepiece. Yeah, you too. And then you start talking about, watches. They feel a bit more comfortable, and then you can, engage a bit more. So this is an amazing tool for my work.
Yeah, I think watches are the ultimate icebreakers, just because they're so broad and they capture so many stories and memories, and everybody has a memory connected to a watch, even if they've never owned that particular watch. Maybe they saw it and they didn't buy it, and oh, this is a watch I didn't buy, and things like that. So speaking of icebreakers, you have this beautiful Montblanc there, which I think is a great conversation watch. So tell me a little bit about that beauty.
So this one, I first saw it back when I lived in Geneva. I was invited to the Montblanc boutique for the launch of the Rio Sec collection. I dug back into my old picture, and I think I have a very, very old picture of me, wearing the watch at the boutique on release night. And I sometimes it's tough to explain, but I really fell in love with the watch. I love the dial. I love the function. It's a chrono, mono pusher. It's dual time, day-night indicator, date. It's just a great watch. Again, I really, really like the dial. I think the dial looks unbelievable. The movement is great as well because Montblanc has definitely done a good job at creating their own in-house movement, and it's just it's a practical watch. I like to wear this one when I travel because I have that GMT function.
Yes.
It's dressy. I had the strap changed a couple of years ago. Montblanc came up with their own strap program whereby you could pick the color and the stitching and everything.
Oh, nice.
Originally, it came on a black strap. And I picked something. I picked a dark gray to match the dial and the sub dials with the white. I think it makes the watch a bit more elegant.
Yeah, no, it's a great pairing. And this is really where Montblanc stepped heavier into the watchmaking world. I feel like when these mono pushers and the whole Reset line came out, it was just a nice expression of, again, not feeling afraid to do something different, trying to really get a hold into the watchmaking space. And these are such gorgeous watches. I love it there. And steel and the rose gold is also beautiful, and probably the most unique looking mono pusher chronograph out there. So that's a good choice. A nice wearable watch too. It's a nice size too. It's not small.
Yeah, exactly. It looks super elegant. I love wearing this one with a suit. Like even if you want to go a bit more casual, it's, I don't know, it just has something that still talks to me, and I still wear this one with lots of pride and joy.
That's one thing I love. Everything here you wear. Nothing here stays besides the swatch. Nothing stays, away, put away.
There's no safe queens.
Exactly.
If I like it, I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's a T-shirt. No safe queens. Right? We should do that. All right. And what's after the Montblanc?
So after the Montblanc, Rolex. So that's my first Rolex. Actually, it took me a long time to warm up to Rolex for some odd reason. Because growing up in Switzerland. Growing up in Geneva, you see Rolexes on every wrist. Yeah. So, I always thought, what's the big deal with Rolex? Everybody's wearing the same one, so that's why when it came time to buy my first watch, I explored different routes, and I bought the first couple of watches that I showed you before. And then, I slowly warmed up to the idea of having a Rolex. It was for a birthday, and I knew exactly that my first Rolex was going to be this one. I wanted something funky. I mean, CQ, take a look at that watch, right?
It's amazing.
It's Rolex. It's the most conservative watch brand in the world. They give us an extra millimeter every 5 years on the model.
And where we scream, thank you.
Exactly. I'm telling you, this one, the design of this one was approved outside of regular business hours.
For sure.
That's for sure. Who came up with the idea of having like two different looms, orange? Why don't we throw in, a lighting bolt? Yeah, cool. Yeah,
let's do a green crystal.
Green
on
crystal,
top.
yeah, just put it on top. Like, that's such an unbelievable watch. And what I love about this is nobody buys this one by accident.
No.
Nobody wears a Milgauss GV by accident.
No.
And, being you working in the DIFC, and you go to any bar or any restaurant, you're going to see tons of gorgeous Pateks,
Yes.
Lange, whatever. But when I see a guy at the bar wearing this, I want to go and talk to him.
Exactly.
I'm like, what pressed you to go get a watch that, like has a green crystal? I've worn this, for like almost a year, like daily. That's my beater watch. Absolutely love that piece.
It is the
Love
first
that
time you
piece.
really see them, especially in the modern times, really get experimental. And
Yep.
it's funny you say it was approved after hours. I always joke that there's a watch designer in Rolex who comes up with all these crazy designs, and then they pick like the most simple thing and like, we'll just do one this year. So it's like that time he got somebody, some nice wine was flowing. He's like, come on, let's do it.
Yeah.
And I love it because it is classy, it is traditional, but it gives you just that zest of experimentation, of fun. You could wear it with a suit, but you're right. Everybody who wears this bought this for a reason.
Yep.
Whether it be from their maybe in an electrical background or something like that, or they just wanted something fun, something cool, but still they wanted a Rolex and they wanted that traditional feel.
Yeah.
And to me, the black dial, the Z Blue is very nice as well, but something about the black dial I really love for the Milgauss series. I think this is probably my favorite combination.
Super, super cool watch. I mean, can never get tired of this one. It's just like a funky Rolex.
Yes.
We can put it like this.
Exactly, it's true. And what came after the Milgauss?
Is the Daytona. So this one is very, very special because it's my wedding watch.
Oh,
So
nice.
I got this one 2 years ago when my wife and I got married. We got married in Cyprus. And we had been together for 10 years. So, we said, okay, what are we getting each other for as a wedding gift? And we agreed, okay, let's gift each other a watch. So, I got her a watch and she got me this one. Without sounding too corny, it's a wedding. Hopefully you only do one.
Exactly,
Right?
That's the whole
So I wanted to get a watch that was, timeless, that was classy, that was versatile. And I ended up picking this one. So I had the choice between the white dial and the black dial. For some odd reason, I know people tend to prefer the white dial. It was a bit too showy for me.
It does pop.
It was too in your face. I thought the black dial was a bit more understated. The watch also looks a bit bigger because it blends in with the ceramic bezel. And yeah, that's my wedding watch. Wear it a lot. I know people have, like the merit of this watch is always debated, but there's something when you put this on,
it's amazing looking
you
watch.
understand the Daytona.
Yes.
But you really need to own one and wear it to fully understand the mystique about that particular timepiece. It's tough to put into words. But when you have it on your wrist, there's just something special that happens.
It's a special watch, and of course it goes up and down because of values and things.
Yep.
People come with different arguments, but you cannot say it's not a good-looking watch. It's not a watch that you can wear and do anything you can think of with. It just looks good at the end of the day, and it's just a great piece. And the contrast with the bezel and the dial is amazing. I think that's a great wedding watch, because that's something, if you had to have one watch, I'm sure, that's a good one watch to have, right?
Yeah, well, if I pick another one, my wife is going to kill me.
Exactly.
So it has to be the wedding watch.
Exactly.
Can't pick anything else.
Tell me about this beautiful blue dial you have there as well.
So the blue dial came in a couple of months ago. And I just wanted to have a simple Rolex that has no complication. I tend to favor watches which don't have a date function. I like watches that are symmetrical. I know it's an entry level Rolex, but it just does the job. It's just so perfect, and the color. I mean, come on, look at the color of that dial.
It's the best color I've seen. Like when it came out,
dial.
you immediately knew it'd be crazy in the market. But at the end of the day, it's just such a gorgeous style. Men could wear it, ladies could wear it. I think it's the best his and hers watches you could get. Is the Tiffany Blue OP. Yeah. It's just gorgeous. It just does the trick, and I really, really. I don't know. I love the watch. I love all the colors that came out. I hope they do more. but the blue there's something very special about that blue.
I like I like the blue and I like the pink.
Yeah,
I really thought I could pull off the pink, but at the last minute I was like, all right, let's go for the blue. But it's funny when you say that men and women can wear it, because the minute I came home with this one,
oh yes,
guess who wears it the most?
It goes. They start putting it on.
My wife wears it a lot more than I do, actually. I came home with this and she was like, oh, all right, okay. Can I try it on? I'm like, yeah, sure. Do you mind if I borrow it? I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. But it's just overall, it's just a great timepiece. It's a classic. It's elegant. I'm super happy to have that in my collection.
Definitely the number one watch stolen by spouses, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so before we wrap up in the D-Shocks, I want to talk a little bit about your love for sneakers. Where did that start?
It started a long time ago. It started when I was a young kid. Watching basketball, and I was heavy into tennis. I used to play tennis when I was 8 or 9 years old. Yeah, I used to go to tennis camp. I loved Agassi, and I remember I forgot the year, but the day he stepped on the court in Roland Garros. He was wearing the Nike AirTag 2, like the pink one, with the full-blown outfit, the neon colors.
Fierce.
And I was like, damn, like I want these shoes. And then just like watches, like it's a slippery slope. You get the first one, and then the next one comes out, and you're like, wait, there's a new model, there's a new colorway, there's a new this, new that. So it's deeply, it goes back deep into my childhood.
I love that.
But just like watches, all of the sneakers in my collection, number one, I only buy what I like, period. I wear all of them. There's not a single pair that's unworn. That's it. Just makes me happy, like unboxing a fresh pair of sneaker almost every weekend now. Just makes me happy.
I love that, because that's really what it's about. It's buying what you love and being happy, what makes you happy. It shouldn't be what other people tell you to buy. It should be really what resonates with you. You go for it, you wear the shoes, you don't just keep them in a box somewhere, you wear the watches, and you enjoy. And to me, that's what collecting should really be about. It's nice, of course, to have, the paintings are different, right? We hang them up and then we use them, but I love that we're using the tables, and we're really, using the elements that they should be used and should be enjoyed, and not just shoved away in a safe somewhere, not to be used, not to see the light of day. Because somebody spent a lot of time and passion to make it or design it, and it's good that it should be out there in the wild a little bit and enjoy it.
That's also what I tell my collectors. I tell them, regardless of who's the artist, what the market is for that particular artist at a specific point in time, at the end of the day, buy what you like.
Nice.
You're going to see that piece every day when you walk down when you go to your living room and you're sipping your morning coffee. So, make sure that whatever you buy, first and foremost, you'll like it. Whether it appreciates, this is secondary. But I always tell people that the emotional return they get, outweighs the financial 100%. One they're gonna get. Definitely. So just buy what you like, buy what makes you happy. The problem with internet now, whether we're talking about watches, art, sneakers, all the collections tend to converge towards the same thing. Yes. Everybody wants the same 10 watches, the same 10 artists, the same 10 sneakers, whatever. So I think it puts a lot of pressure on collector to eventually buy something that they wouldn't necessarily go with if they were shielded from all this information. So whenever I buy something, whether it's an art piece, whether it's a watch, whether it's whatever, I try to really ask myself, like, why do I want to acquire that? Like, am I being influenced? Is it really who I am? If it weren't for the hype or the supposedly resale value, would I still like the watch sneaker painting that much? It's very important for me to go through that mental exercise and really get something that makes me happy for the right reason.
That's so important. It has to be organic. There has to be an organic thing that draws you into the piece that you buy, or else you end up getting something and then you don't really like it, then you end up selling it, right? And that's part of the problem in the market. You see such amazing watches or art on the market so quickly, and it's because the person who originally bought it, they didn't really want it. Maybe they had the right relationship and they were offered something, and then 5 people in their WhatsApp group or something said, oh, you should buy this. Then they buy it, and then they get it home and they look at it and say, it's really not for me. Then it goes on the market, and then it creates that feeling to people who weren't able to get that watch or that art piece. They're like, oh, I would have treasured this, and this would have been the watch that I gave to my son, and then they just get this bad feeling. So I think that's a great point. Is they're definitely, because of the internet now, there's a less organic attraction. So it's a good question to ask yourself, why am I pulling the trigger on this item? Do I really love it? Does it really speak to me? Does it make me happy? Or am I doing it just because 5 people said yes? You know, at the end of the day, you know, you should be the one to actually enjoy it and not just get it just to get it.
Right.
So let's talk about the G-Shocks.
So the G-Shocks are, these are just fun watches. These are weekend beaters. This one looks amazing, murdered out.
Yes.
You know, I love the NATO. It's all black, looks fantastic. This one, I got this one because it vaguely reminded me of the first rubberclad that AP came out with. Remember, one of the first.
Yeah.
They had 3
gold.
rubberclads, so the 2 steels with either the silver or the black dial, and then they had the rose gold with the rubber thing. And I was like, yeah, it kind of gives off that feeling. And I was like, come on, Casio is never going to try to copy AP, right?
Yeah, right.
They would never do that.
Exactly.
Of course, right?
Yeah, no, in different world.
It's just a coincidence. Yeah. And you know, last year, what did we see?
The Casio.
The Casio is all over the place.
So
but this one is a super cool watch. And this one was one of the first solar. Actually, I've just realized this morning when I pulled it out of the case that it's out of batteries. But this one is a combination of battery powered and solar thing. But see, you look at this. Which color is the? It's not the crystal, but which color is the plastic?
Yeah, the frame is green. Yeah,
it's green, right?
It does resonate so much with the logo. So it's the same shade of green.
I love collecting watches. Look, you have 2 watches, right? One is a couple of thousand, the other one is $80. Both of them give off that green hue. These guys at Casio, it's so cheap to produce, it never even crossed their mind to copyright that or to trademark that. Rolex, when they came up with this, it's just so difficult to make that they knew no one else was going to be able to do it, so they didn't even bother patenting this.
Exactly. I mean, just trying to make that crystal, you just go crazy, right?
Exactly. And yet, these 2 watches, they give off similar vibes because when you have them on your wrist, you see that green hue coming out of the dial. So I just like to put these 2 next to each other. It's something really cool about.
It is. It's fun.
It's so different. Yet, they're something that brings them together.
No, I love that. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I love that. It's OG G-Shocks.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about your most recent pickup. I know you just got this probably less than a year, if I'm right.
This I got a couple of months ago.
Nice.
So this, out of everything on the table, this is most likely the most aspirational buy for me. I remember when I was a kid, there was this place in Geneva called Le Baroque, which was a bar. And on each side of the bar, you had these 2 huge pictures of women. I think they were, they were dressed as scuba divers, and they were rocking these, 2 massive Royal Oaks offshores.
Really?
Yeah, back then I knew virtually nothing about the brand, but the image stuck with me. Like that image, that shape, just stuck. And then, the years passed on, I became fully aware of who AP was and blah, 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 and I always said one day I'm going to own an AP. I had to wait for the time to be right. I had to wait for the funds to be right as well. So I was torn. I didn't know which AP to get as my first AP. I wanted to go back to my first love and find a rubberclad.
Yes.
But these are tough to find, especially in good condition.
Yeah.
Repairing the bezel is super tough because all of the bezel, the
people use rubberclads. That's the one thing. So they.
Yeah, the rubber is nicked or whatever. So I said, okay, for my first AP, I want to get something classic. And going back to what we said earlier about buying what you like and not what the market dictates. I had the choice between this 15202 and then 15500. 15500, I have tiny wrist. It looks like a table clock on me, and I don't like the dial too much. It doesn't feel balanced because you don't have the automatic. 15202 is most likely what most people would have gone for.
For sure.
It just doesn't it never felt right on me. It's too thin. I wear my watches. It's a very fragile watch, and I've had it on the wrist countless times. And I don't know. I love it seeing. I love that watch on other people's wrists, and my friends pull it off very nicely. But every time I had that watch, I was like, it's not me. It makes me, I'm not
feel like
feeling
you're gonna
comfortable.
break it,
Like
yeah.
there's something odd. And then I came across the 15450, which to me is perfect. It's 37 mil, which, you know, like definitely looks like a 38 or 39.
It wears much bigger than 37 for sure.
That, for sure. It's a thicker watch than the Jumbo, which I tend to like because I have small wrists, so you know it gives a bit of volume. I went for the blue dial because, you know, if it's my first AP, might as well
Why
you
not
know
go?
might
Why
as
not go
well
blue?
might as well go for the blue. But out of all the watches that I own, you know, when I came home with this one, it was really something. I don't want to say life event because there's some you know, other things which are more important in life. But you know,
A special moment. Right?
it really felt special because I lusted for an AP over, you know, like the last 15 years. So finally being able to get one, own one, wear one, it was a huge thing for me. It was, and it still is, by the way. This one is definitely a special timepiece.
Yeah. I think no matter what, you know, we work hard in whatever we do to get these things that we aspire towards, right? So it is a special moment. And, you know, it could be a special life moment. Of course, there's much more important life things, but it is a culmination of your hard work, your journey in life, and be able to say, hey, I want this, and actually being at the table, swiping the card, paying cash, whatever, and being able to get this thing that you've wanted so long. So that's amazing.
Yep.
And I love your choice of the 15450. Given those choices, most people go 15.5 or 15.202 all day, just because the immediate value, the immediate, you know, you can sell it for whatever you want. So it's really nice that you actually went for what felt good on the wrist. The 15450 is a little bit thicker, so you have that wrist presence, but it's not too big, so it feels good on the wrist. You don't feel like you're gonna break, and I think that's a very nice pickup. Congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
Congrats. Well, Sylvain, thank you so much
right.
for doing this interview.
Thank you.
Thank you to the Opera Gallery for hosting us.
Sure.
This was amazing.
Pleasure.
A great talk, and yeah, we'll see you guys later.